Seeing is not believing, especially in the age of artificial intelligence.
The technology itself is neutral.
The possibilities are endless and a little frightening.
When you think about the catastrophic potential to public trust from deepfake attacks,
a viral fake picture followed by a real dip in the markets Monday.
There is another front on this war tonight, disinformation.
AI being used as a propaganda tool.
We are way past the point of no return on this.
We're not going to get rid of it. It's not possible.
Everybody's like, we need to get a handle on this problem. We need to do something, but nobody knows what to do.
Our research investments in countering deepfakes have seeded an opportunity space that is timely, necessary, and poised to grow. With the help of industry and academia around the world, the Semantic Forensics program developed hundreds of analytics and methods to help organizations and individuals protect themselves against the threats of manipulated media. Their work has systematically driven down developmental risks and has paved the way for a new era of defenses against this mounting threat. Now, we're calling on the broader community to take what we've started and bolster the ecosystem needed to defend authenticity in a digital world.
What we are seeing right now is not unusual if you take a step back and look at the history of the halving as an event. What we saw in two previous halvings, which occurred in 2016 and 2020, is that there were significant retracements in price ahead of that event. In 2016, it was close to 40%. In 2020, it was more around 20%, which is essentially what we've seen in the 2024 cycle. You know, what's going on here? I think it's a couple of things. One is the uncertainty ahead of the halving. When, for those who don't know, the Bitcoin halving is when the rewards that are paid to miners for each block that they mine are cut in half. So the profitability of the miners is cut in half, and hence a lot of miners tend to leave the market. It's almost like a wildfire that cleans out the Bitcoin mining space. That means that the amount of computational power or hash rate associated with Bitcoin mining goes down around the world. You end up seeing a lot of volatility around that event. But again, what's important from our perspective is what has happened historically after the halving. In 2016, we saw that volatility ahead of the halving. Then the price of Bitcoin went up 6x. In 2016, it was 17x actually. In 2020, it was 6x. The point being that we typically see an extended rally after the halving that goes on for something around 18 months. A really good point, because the halving itself is a supply shock. You know, the supply of new Bitcoin introduced into the market declines each time that we have a halving. What we are seeing this go round is also a demand shock. With the introduction of 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs, all of the inflows that are associated with that. Why is that different? Because Bitcoin from its beginnings has been a retail instrument. It's the rare asset class where retail has led, institutions have really lagged behind. Now we're positioned to see more of a catch-up on the institutional front. We're certainly seeing that in terms of the uptick. And yes, it is extending into the stocks that are associated with Bitcoin. You know, a couple of the ones that we cover, MicroStrategy and BitDeer, which is one of the Bitcoin miners. You know, we've seen significant pickup in both of those, which in some cases, MicroStrategy, you know, is reflected in a premium to the underlying holdings of Bitcoin that it has. So we're going to see some volatility around all of this as we head into what is really a colossal event for the space.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And AI deepfakes are getting better and better. We heard Charles Hoskinson speaking of the advancement of this technology. But remember, guys, we have the drums are beating, and that's how dangerous it's going to be. Even though we know it's all a movie, the sheep are definitely going to fall for it. Because we know the NWO has to bring on this whole digital economy without the sheep even knowing. Whether robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And then we have the Bitcoin halving next month. And guys, are we going to pump because of the Bitcoin halving? No. We're going to pump at the beginning of the month because Coinbase is going to be doing Litecoin, Dogecoin, and Bitcoin Cash futures. And in the media, they're going to say it's because of the halving. It's just being priced in. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we know China and the emerging markets are leading this fourth industrial revolution. And we're seeing the central banks around the globe moving in lockstep. And remember, the Fed printed all this money, create all this inflation, and then the only thing they can do is raise rates in order to fight the inflation. And of course, they raise them so fast because they know it's going to take about 24 months for these rates to really seep into the economy. Now that they're going to be cutting rates soon, it's too late. We already see the cracks, and we're paying $1 trillion just to service the debt. But remember, we're in a fragmented world, and they don't want everything breaking down at once. Remember, this is a plan. It moves in phases. Everything is going to crumble, and they're going to run in with the solution. Remember, they create the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. And we know that solution is the machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Oh, okay. Unchanged at 2.5%. So this is basically what people were expecting, but they are withdrawing a net 94 billion RMB through that MLF. All right. So it's unchanged. They refrained from a net cash injection for the first time since November 2022. What do you think are some of the reasons driving this? Is there really a concern about the currency in some ways, as well as what we've been seeing when it comes to banks and their margins if we continue to see more rate cuts in the pipeline? Are those sort of big factors that the PBOC and policymakers are really thinking about now?
Yeah, I think I've been commenting on this for some time. I think that the PBOC is somewhat in a delicate balance. On one hand, it needs to be more accommodative with the economy, but on the other hand, it has to be very watchful with how the foreign exchange rate goes. I think it's giving the PBOC some breathing room or some sweet spot in the next few months with the Fed plan to cut interest rate. I think that's going to give China's central bank a greater room to maneuver in the next few months. So I think it's going to be more active in playing this balancing game between growth and stabilization of the RMB exchange rate.
I mean, I think the market consensus going into the Fed was June. I don't think we learned much different around that. There were a couple of comments yesterday that when the chair talked about we're trying to hit the inflation target, I actually said we're going to hit the inflation target over time. We're still running above trend in inflation. In fact, yesterday I thought it was interesting. The Fed upgraded its growth forecast, upgraded its inflationary forecast, and then still gave the indication we can start middle of the year and quite frankly still get the 3 cuts in. So anyway, I thought that was, I think the market's reaction to it, it was better than could have been the case. And, I thought it was an interesting, I thought the chair did a very good job yesterday thinking through, listen, we think the data is going to give them a better chance over the next couple of months. And I think, but we've got to see it.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
very much a traditionalist. I like staying with the dollar. You know that from when I was there. It's make the dollar the choice. I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.